Smith. I'm the founder and CEO of Crystal Wealth Management. We're an investment management firm. When I started Crystal Wealth in 1998, I have to admit the sole purpose of starting it was to make better returns for my investors. But I think the world's changed dramatically over the last 20 years. And I think just seeking better investment returns without taking into consideration a bunch of other things is no longer an appropriate goal for investment. I believe we must also take into account the social and environmental impacts of our investments. Whether we like it or not, money does make the world go round, in the sense that a great idea remains simply a great idea if it doesn't have financial support to keep it going and to grow it. Where we invest our money speaks volumes about how we see the world. And unfortunately, I think we see the majority of investors still invest in traditional industries that damage the world and take advantage of its inhabitants in order to turn a profit. I think this narrow, self-interested view is the mindset that has created the crisis in which mankind finds itself today. There is another way, but it requires vision, courage, and faith that doing good for the planet and its inhabitants can also be economically rewarding. If we want to see change, we need to lead the way with more than just our words. It is our responsibility, and I feel our duty, to invest our money in companies and people that can change the world. Today, we at Crystal Wealth are launching a mutual fund aimed at helping to heal our planet, called the Crystal Wealth Conscious Capital Strategy. The mandate of the fund is simple: to invest in companies and people that are creating positive change around the world. And I'm happy to announce upon technology's our first investment in this fund. I've had the opportunity to know Steve for over a year and a half now. I mean, what I love about Steve and his entire team is their quirkiness, as well as their ability just to have that vision and to also pursue it. A lot of people have vision but can't sort of put it into action. And it's amazing to meet Steve and his team, just see the passion that they have and they bring to that concept. I also have to congratulate, the visionaries that came sort of before we got involved with PON, such as St. Mary Cement and Board Team, National Research Council, the Ontario Government, and all the other individual investors that have invested in PON since 2007, I think, when it was launched. Just to see that vision and to see that commitment, especially from a cement company, to have seen that vision prior to all the stuff that's happened in the last couple of years it's truly heartening for me. With that, I'm pleased to introduce Steve Martin, founder and CEO of PON Technologies. When I first met Steve, I asked him why he started PON, and his answer was simple: to help create a better and more sustainable world for his son, who's here somewhere, here. And that response led to our first large investment in PON. Steve has always been a passionate and committed proponent of technological solutions to carbon emissions that are also grounded in good economic sense. Environmental solutions that can also make good economic sense. Under Steve's guidance, PON has now become a world-leading company in turning greenhouse gas emissions from a liability into a profit. Into a profit. And we're here today unveiling the world's largest algae photobioreactor directly connected to an industrial smokestack. PON's technology, in my mind, is brilliant in the sense that not only does it reduce the pollutants coming out of the exhaust stacks, it does so by growing algae, which can then be used in a multitude of things, including nutraceuticals. This next line I can't take credit for. Steve wrote this, so but it's a good one. As a scientist, Steve's interests have always been around photonics and light, so I'm sure you'll find his remarks illuminating.
In the interest of quirkiness, I haven't written this speech. Normally I do. I'm quite obsessive compulsive, so we'll see how that goes. I know there's a couple of people wincing right now, concerned what I might say next. In fact, I want to know what I'm going to say next. PON Technologies did start around 2007. It began with an article in the Washington Post. I read it in 2008, which tells you how many newspapers I read around, that said that you can make bio-oil from algae. And I thought, that's a great idea. We should do that. And about 4 days later, we started the company. But it's not just a straight line between there and where we are today. There's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of people you have to thank to get you here. One of the very first things that afforded us this opportunity to create the company was that we had a space to start it in. My father is here with us. My father had some industrial space. He very kindly allowed us to sit there and pay no rent for quite some time while we developed our technology. We grew our first algae in coffee cups and found that we were pretty good at it. And then we started applying other technological pieces to the puzzle to develop what we have here today, the largest photobioreactor attached to an untreated stack gas source. We consume everything that comes out of the stack gas and we're able to turn that into algae, which we use for a variety of products. We have our first employee here today. Jaime Gonzalez, who came to us from Andrew Bowder at the Natural Research Council. He mentioned to us that he knew an engineer, so we hired him. Would have been probably good to interview him first, but nevertheless, he's been terrific and been with us since the beginning. From that came Tony and Emilio DiPietro, two brothers that, again, had the same interview process. So I recommend that to the HR professionals. Don't interview, just hire whoever comes through the door. And the team has continued to grow since then. Our partnership with St. Mary's couldn't have been more fruitful. In particular, Martin Verreau, who is essentially liaison, has made material contributions to the technology, which is unusual for someone who is the liaison from the company, and I mean really substantial material contributions. The other folks we work with at St. Mary's, quite similarly. Joy Romero, I was just speaking to her earlier, she said to me, this is like your birthday, and I'm going to say, yeah, it is kind of like my birthday. I'd be happy to have everyone here to celebrate. Just wish we had cake. But I want to thank everyone for coming. Oh, we did. Fantastic. Is there candles? So thank everyone for coming out. But I'll end with the comment that Clayton made. The truth is, the only reason I did this is because of my son. He was born in 2005, and it made a substantial difference to my thinking about the world and where he was going to live and what he was going to do and what kind of future he would have. At the time, it seemed very dim to me, but I'm convinced that it's very bright. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Steve. Next, I'd like to introduce Joy Romero, Vice President of Technology and Innovation for Canadian Natural Resources Limited. Canadian Natural Resources Limited is an official observer on this project. Joy's careers span more than 35 years. She holds specializing in operations and consulting related to iron ore, coal, and oil sands. She holds an MBA in project management with a specialization in energy. Joy is a member of the Shareholder Steering Committee and the Board Chair for Canada's Oil Sand Innovation Alliance, or CACIA, and a Board Director for the Petroleum Technology Alliance Canada. In 2014, Joy was appointed as a member of the Government of Canada's Science, Technology and Innovation Council. Joy is uniquely qualified to provide some insights on our program and our project this morning. Joy?
Good morning, everybody. Canadian Natural is very grateful to both have been a part of this project from the beginning, to be able to observe it in the middle, and we look forward to commercializing this at the later phases as a result of the great work that's begun and will continue to do, and to bring it on that spectrum to commercialization and just getting that right information that we need to bring this up to one more level. This kind of technology is imperative in the future for Canada. Turning something that's a waste into a valuable product is what is absolutely important. Being able to take flue gas, which is really the holy grail, in converting that to CO2, or taking the CO2 in it and converting it to something else, or capture, is really the holy grail of what industry is after. We already have technology to capture CO2 from high concentration sources. Actually, at our Horizon site, we are just commissioning our CO2 capture unit from our hydrogen plant. That's well known. Why are we capturing that? Since 2009, we've been adding waste CO2 from others that we purchase to our tailings process, and it actually helps us settle our tailings and reduce the size of our footprint and be able to reclaim our tailings earlier. And now we have our own capture plant because we've actually increased that capacity. And so that in itself, so for Canadian Natural, we've actually been using waste CO2 for a number of years. This kind of progression is just natural for us. And why would it work? Because again, it's not the easy source to go after, it's the hard source. And I don't think it hasn't been clearly said, it's any burning of natural gas is what this now can take. And so it's not just a cement plant or oil sands facility. They're not magic. These are just combustion of something, of a hydrocarbon. So this material, this technology is transferable literally to the world. And this is one of hopefully many solutions to come. But what's also unique about this one is the product range in which it produces. It can, so for us, we looked at it as just in the bio oil that it produces, can be used as a diluent inside of, to transfer our bitumen, refined bitumen, either refined along with our synthetic crude oil, or from our in situ facilities. We need diluent to be able to, bitumen doesn't, at this temperature, doesn't flow, and you need something to dilute that, to transfer it. That bio, from the biodiesel or we would actually do it more at the naphtha phase, but that is in essence what we could use to transfer. When that goes to a refinery, it already has the bio component associated with it. Imagine, I mean, that's what makes it an economical. What's left is the biomass for us, obviously at an oil sands facility, is the reclamation that we have. That biomass is a direct reclamation material for us. So both of the products become economic and viable products. And so it's not, you're not just adding something on that's an additional cost, you're creating something that adds value. And we'd like to congratulate Pond as well for being a finalist in the Carbon X Prize. One of the 27 finalists from around the world. It was the largest subscribed to X Prize to date. Over 100 participants that were there, and they're one of the final 27. And so we're cheering you on with that as well. Busy building the facility for you to do the test work in Alberta. So we are really looking very much forward to the success of this and to bring the application of this technology back to Alberta to commercialize in the final stages of this project, and which then a partnership will continue that's been here. So thank you for being here, thank you for doing this work, congratulations. This will make a difference for not only your son Steve, who's here, but my children, my grandchildren, and the rest of yours as well.
That concludes the formal presentations for this morning. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and sharing in the excitement and enthusiasm we have. We hope you get a chance to take a tour of the facility. And if you're interested in a tour, just please make your way over to this end over here and see Steve and whoever else is going to be getting people over, and have a look and see what we've been doing here. So thanks again for coming, and have a nice day.